Hey, welcome back to F1 Sparks. So McLaren just threw away both drivers' championship campaigns in 15 seconds, and by the end of this video, you're going to see why their CEO's apology makes this so much worse. Because what Zak Brown said in the heat of the moment, that might have just cost them the entire 2025 season. Stick around, this gets wild. So here's what went down at the Circuit of the Americas. Max Verstappen sitting on pole for the sprint, Norris is alongside him in P2, and Piastri's third on the grid. Championship-wise, Piastri's leading the whole thing, Norris is second, and Max is lurking in that dangerous third spot where he's always most lethal. The lights go out, and within about 15 seconds, McLaren's entire weekend basically explodes in a shower of carbon fibre. Verstappen gets away brilliantly, no drama there. But behind him, Norris goes absolutely deep into turn one, and I mean properly deep. Piastri, who had a cracking start himself, sees this and thinks, right, I'll do a cheeky cutback on the exit and have him down the straight. Classic Cota move, everyone does it. The problem is, turn one at this track is absolutely massive. It's steep, it's wide, and it basically invites everyone within a postcode to have a go. So Piastri's committed to this cutback, tucking underneath Norris when suddenly Nico Hulkenberg appears in his left rear tyre. Now, Hulkenberg didn't just randomly decide to ruin McLaren's day, he was properly sandwiched. Fernando Alonso had sent it down the absolute inside of the German, taking this ridiculously tight line, which meant Hulkenberg had nowhere to go. He's got Alonso on one side, Piastri turning in on the other, and honestly, the bloke's just a passenger at that point. The contact happens, Piastri gets launched into Norris, and both McLarens are done. Absolutely done. 18 laps still to go, and they're watching from the sidelines while Verstappen cruises to an easy 8 points. Now here's where it gets properly spicy. Zak Brown, McLaren's CEO, gets on the radio to Sky Sports immediately after, and he is fuming. Calls it amateur hour driving, and specifically points the finger at Hulkenberg, saying he had no business being where he was and drove straight into Oscar's left rear. Properly went in on him. But then, and this is brilliant, a bit later Brown walks it back on air saying it was a heat of the moment comment. And actually no, he doesn't think it's on Nico. Classic case of watching the replay and going, oh right, maybe I was a bit hasty there. But Andrea Stella, McLaren's team principal, he's not backing down. He comes out after the race and he's talking about experienced drivers needing to show more prudence. Doesn't name names, but the implication is clear. He thinks someone with Hulkenberg's experience should have known better. Keeps going on about prudence, just get through the first corner. Don't damage competitors, then carry on racing. Fair point really, but it's also lap one, turn one, and everyone's got championship fever. Now, Red Bull's perspective is absolutely class. Helmut Marko, never one to miss a chance to stir the pot, reckons Alonso was actually the triggering factor. Says it was a chain reaction, Alonso goes ridiculously deep on the inside, Hulkenberg's got nowhere to go, and boom, it all kicks off. Marko's adamant both McLaren drivers are innocent this time, which is interesting because he also mentions that Piastri's been making mistakes in qualifying and suggests the pressure's starting to show. And that pressure angle is fascinating, innit? Max was 55 points behind Piastri and 33 behind Norris after the sprint. Red Bull's now competitive everywhere, and McLaren's drivers have been caught up in incidents at a few races now. Marko straight up says the nerves are showing on McLaren's side, and you can see it in the data. Piastri's been making uncharacteristic errors. Meanwhile, Max is going from strength to strength, as Marko put it. The really interesting bit is the comparison to Singapore 2 weeks earlier. Remember that race? Norris made a similar aggressive move at the start, made contact with another car, and then wiped out Piastri. McLaren actually gave Norris undisclosed repercussions for that one, potentially something to do with qualifying priority or strategy calls, nobody knows exactly, but now the roles are completely reversed. Piastri's the one who's arguably been a bit ambitious, and both drivers are out. So what happens now? Do they reverse Norris's punishment? Do they give Piastri the same consequences? Or do they just call it even and move on? The stewards, for what it's worth, saw the whole thing and went, yeah, racing incident, no further action. Which is probably the right call. It's lap one, turn one, everyone's trying to win a championship. These things happen. From the drivers themselves, neither Piastri nor Norris were particularly chatty afterwards. Norris just said, I got taken out, not a lot I could have done. Piastri explained he had a good start. They both went deep into turn one. He tried to cut back and got hit. Both basically shrugging and saying, what do you want us to do about it? Hulkenberg's perspective is interesting too. He said Piastri turned in pretty aggressively, he had Alonso attacking on the inside, couldn't even see him anymore in his peripheral vision, and then Piastri turned in. Said the contact was inevitable, which to be fair it probably was. Here's the thing that's got everyone talking though. McLaren's been absolutely brilliant this season. They've got the fastest car, they've got two properly quick drivers who aren't at each other's throats, and they've somehow managed to let both of them fight for the title without favouring either one. That's basically unheard of in F1. But now 3 separate times, Monza with the team orders drama, Singapore with Norris's move, and now Austin, they've had these internal dramas that are completely overshadowing their actual racing. The Monza situation still hangs over them like a bad smell. They did that position swap between the drivers, and ever since they've been trying to manage everything and balance out any perceived unfairness. It's like they're so desperate not to interfere that they've actually interfered too much by trying to control the uncontrollable. And all this man management is dominating the conversation rather than the fact they've got the quickest car and should be running away with both championships. George Russell had a proper go at Max after the McLarens crashed out, but he absolutely cooked his tyres trying to attack the Dutchman and fell away. Verstappen himself admitted afterwards that Norris would have been faster in the race. He had excessive rear tyre degradation and handling issues. But none of that matters when you're watching from the garage, does it? The championship math now is fascinating. Verstappen's closed the gap significantly, and with Red Bull suddenly competitive on every circuit, this title fight's wide open. There are still some exciting races coming where the first corner is critical, as Marko pointed out, and if McLaren keeps having these incidents while Max keeps collecting points, we could be in for a properly dramatic end to the season. So what do you reckon? Was this just a racing incident? Or should someone have backed out? Was Zak Brown right to initially blame Hulkenberg, or was Marko spot on about Alonso triggering it all? And the big question, can McLaren stop shooting themselves in the foot and actually capitalise on having the best car? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this one's divided opinion right down the middle. Cheers for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.